In this part, we are going to improve the performance of our ASP.NET Core API by adding in-memory caching. Right now, every time a client requests products, our API goes to the database, executes the query, maps the results, and returns the response. This works, but for data that does not change frequently, hitting the database every single time is not always necessary. Caching allows us to store frequently requested data temporarily in memory. So the first request will load the data from the database, but the next request can return the data directly from memory, which is much faster. First, we register the memory cache service in program.cs. ASP.NET Core provides IMemoryCache out of the box, but we need to register it in the dependency injection container before using it. Once this is done, we can inject IMemoryCache into our service. Now we inject IMemoryCache into the product service. This is where we will use caching because service is responsible for product-related business logic. We also keep AppDB context, automapper, and ilogger. The cache will help us avoid unnecessary database calls when the same data is requested repeatedly. Next, we define cache keys. A cache key is just a unique name used to store and retrieve data from memory. For the list of products, we use products. For a single product, we use a prefix followed by product ID. Using constants keeps the cache keys consistent and avoid hard-coded strings everywhere. Now we start with caching a single product by ID. First, we build the cache key using the product ID. Then we call try_get_value. If the product already exists in cache, we return it immediately without calling the database. If the product is not on cache, we load it from the database, map it to product.to, then we store it in cache. We also configure expiration. Absolute expiration means that the cache entry will expire after 5 minutes, no matter what. Sliding expiration means that the entry stays alive as long as it's accessed within 2 minutes. This gives us a balance between performance and fresh data. Caching the product list is slightly more complex because our endpoint supports pagination, filtering, and sorting. So if we used only one cache for all product lists, we could accidentally return the wrong data. For example, page 1 and page 2 should not share the same cache entry. So we built a dynamic cache that includes pages, page size, search, price filters, sorting fields, and sorting directions. This ensures that each unique query gets its own cache entry. The flow is simple. First, we check the cache. If the data exists, we return it. If not, we execute the normal database query, applying filtering, count the results, sort them, paginate them, map them to DTOs, store the result in cache, and return it. Now we need to talk about cache invalidation. When a product is created, updated, or deleted, cache data may become outdated. For a single product, we can remove the cache entry by ID. For product list, it's more complicated because we created the dynamic keys for pagination and filtering. IMemoryCache does not give us simple built-in way to remove all keys by prefix. So for this beginner-friendly version, we keep list cache expiration short. Later, when we move to Redis, we will discuss more advanced cache invalidation strategies. Now we can remove product caches after write operations. When a product is updated or deleted, we remove the individual product cache. When a product is created, we log cache invalidation and rely on short expiration for list caches. This is prevent the API from serving outdated product details after changes. Now we test caching in Swagger. Call get products once. The first request should load data from the database, and then we call get products by ID. The first attempt is going to load all the element with the corresponding ID from the database. Then when we do this for the second time, we should see the message that we are loading from the cache. One important limitation of in-memory caching is that it only works inside one application instance. If the application restarts, the cache is lost. And if the API runs on multiple servers, each server has its own separate memory cache. That's why in-memory caching is great for simple applications, learning, and single server deployment. But for production systems, we need multiple instances. Via Docker, for example, we usually use a distributed cache like Redis. So in the next tutorial, we are going to implement Redis from scratch, and we are going to see how to work with this distributed databases. So for this tutorial, we finish it with caching. We already implement the entities, the orders DTO for creation, updating. For the log config, we already done this using Serilog. Define relationships, for example, the relationship between product items, and orders, and domain enums. That's done. Base entities, we already done this. So in the next tutorial, we are going to work with Redis. Don't forget to subscribe.